Hey, hey, hey! Welcome, gorgeous divine replay viewer, to why, when you're intuitive, it's so easy to spin the I don't belong story. You get me? So, if you want to skip the first few minutes of introduction and head on right over to the content, then please feel free to do so. That's the benefit of the replay. But for those of you that are here live, hello and welcome. Today I've got something very special in store for you. And we're going to be doing a little transformative tarot spread. So if you want to join in, you can bring your tarot, but you may find that it's just easier to watch this, get it in the kind of like a theory, and then go back with the replay and pause it, because I am going to be moving very fast, because that's the thing with lives, right? You haven't got all day. So really, we just need 3 bullet points and a little exercise for you to take away. So that's what I am going to do with you today. I'm going to work with you on 3 bullet points and a little transformative tarot exercise for you to take away and try for yourself. So, hello and welcome. My name is Tiffany Crasara. I am an inner transformation specialist, author, courage catalyst, and what else? I'm sure I've forgotten something. Boho, CEO of the multi-award winning brand that you can kind of see behind me a little bit, The Transformational Truth of Tarot. I used to read tarot on TV, but it was really exploitive, heavily edited, and I couldn't do it because I felt like it was going against everything that I stood for with tarot. I have come to see that there is kind of 2 camps, like everything in life. One of them is one way and another is the other, and never the twain shall meet, unfortunately. There is the predictive camp of tarot and the transformative camp of tarot. As my brand is the transformational truth of tarot, then that says what it is, but still people don't really get it. So I'm just going to take a little moment to kind of give you a little bit of a lesson on the difference between, hey Shelley, hey Julia, between the difference of transformative tarot, which we're going to be doing a bit of today, and predictive tarot. Okay, so predictive tarot is when you are looking at the tarot to tell you what's going on outside of yourself. When is this going to happen? So that is what I call OUT-TUITON. It's using your intuition to tune out of yourself into the world around you. What is going to happen to me from the outside world, right? Okay, transformative tarot is about working with the tarot as a mirror to bring your intuition back into you, because actually it's only when that's happening that your self-esteem will begin to heal. And it's a bit of a chicken and egg situation, as you will see with the next live I do on Friday, where I'll be going into why, when there's no amount of intuition that will save you if you don't have your self-esteem. So that's what I work with. I work with transformative tarot through group programs that put you back in touch with who you are month by month, to the point that you can actually manifest pretty much a miracle a month, as I'm sure a few of my clients will testify for. Let's get going now, shall we? Because it's exciting. I love nothing more than actually helping you to understand how you've maybe been using your intuition actually as OUT-TUITON, and the effects that's been having on your life, and how you can use transformative tarot to actually turn that around. It's unique, the stuff that I do. Hi Lisa, good to see you here. Hi Marie, good to see you here. It's pretty unique, and so you're going to learn something new. I promise you that, okay? Particularly as the I belong Transformative Tarot Spread I only made up like a couple of days ago, so you won't have seen it before anywhere else. Okay, so let's get cracking, because it's really important that you as an intuitive really do get this, because it's only then that you really will start to be able to receive from the world, and actually your self-esteem will heal. So although it looks like I do transformative tarot, which I do, it's like the emphasis is really on the transformation part. It's really on the piece of helping intuitives get the esteem switched on and get their intuition working, so that they can have the purpose and the partnerships and the passion that they wanted when they first began the spiritual path. But hey ho, for some reason that doesn't happen. It doesn't happen because of using your intuition as out-tuition and the blocks that that causes for receiving. So let's, with no further ado, just do a little rundown of what I mean about the intuition and out-tuition piece. So if any of you are listening to this and thinking, actually, there is someone I know that needs to hear this, I would absolutely love a share, especially as they would too, if they really do struggle with this I don't belong story, or self-esteem, or receiving, or using their intuition as out-tuition, then please do share. Or if you're in my group, you can't share it or tag someone, but on the page you can. And I would really, really, really appreciate that. Okay, so as with they, let's get cracking. Out-tuition. Let me take you through what that is. And then after that, we will go through why you feel like you don't belong. Well, actually, I'll show you that in accordance with the out-tuition docs that I'm about to show with you. So we're going to do that. Number one, why you as intuitives feel like you don't belong. Number two, how the I don't belong story nearly cost me absolutely everything. And I'm saying with a smile, but actually it's tragic. And three, how to flick that switch before it's too late. And then we're going to finish with the I don't belong transformative tarot spread. Ready? Let's do this. I've just got to share my screen. So bear with me a little tick, please. And it should be coming up right now. Let's look and see. Yes, okay. So you can see this here. It's the 10 symptoms of using your intuition as out-tuition. It's come from decades of working with intuitives and being an intuitive, and finally getting the aha moments. In 2016, 2017, I went through my own breakdown, and I started to realize that the common symptoms that were going through my life and every other intuitive's life, pretty much, that I had met. And I came to boil it down to these 10 symptoms. If you are using your intuition as out-tuition, you will be resonating high on this spectrum here. Okay, so number one, over emotional misunderstandings, because you're so tuned in to, you're tuned out of yourself, but into other people. So you feel their emotions and it kind of feeds off it. It's a bit like a psychic squash ball that just bounces off the walls. Yes. And so then you're feeling everything personally. You're super highly sensitive to it all. So then you struggle to know your own reality, because it's like, where do I begin? Where does another one end? And then you get so confused, but you tell yourself this story that you're getting intuitive hits. And so you make assumptions and don't take the care to actually question, because actually that would be a threat to your ego or identity as an intuitive. So you become more invested in protecting what is a fragile self-esteem. Woo! Bear with me, okay? So that then causes conflict and drama to the point that it could cost you relationships, or you'll go into people pleasing, over trying, overdoing, and overwhelm, either to overprove yourself or to overgive to someone else to get that worth coming back, some validation from other people that you are actually worthy. Okay, and then you've got all of their stuff coming so strong, yes, that it's so hard to know what you need or what you want. So how on earth can you start to receive that? And you won't be able to express it because you're being knocked by everybody else's kind of needs and wants. So you feel suppressed and unable to kind of communicate because, number one, you don't know what you need and want anyway. And number two, you sure as hell don't know how to be able to ask for it. And actually, there would be a lot of guilt and a lot of shame around receiving it, because we do have a shame core if you've been using your intuition as OUT-TUITON. And if you actually get a need met, you can actually feel really quite guilty about it. So then you will bounce from no boundaries, because as an intuitive, you transgress boundaries. It's the only way that you can pick up on other people's stuff, right? But then you can go into big barriers as well. You can go into shutdown of like, I can't receive, I can't let anyone in, it's not safe. And you can oscillate sometimes between the two as well, which of course will leave you feeling like you don't belong anywhere. And all this comes down to is the struggle to obtain healthy self-esteem, because somewhere in the childhood, what I've known from my experience and from what I've seen from other people's experience, what happens is you tune out of yourself because you've got the message somewhere along the line that it's really important to make sure that your parents' needs and wants are met. So you start trying to conform, and it becomes a survival pulse, like breathing. It's like you can't switch it off. You just it's not as natural as breathing. We don't think about breathing, but when we're using our intuition as OUT-TUITON, it's quite a heightened, uncomfortable feeling of anxiety and living on cortisol, really. So this continues, and as a child, yes, it protects your survival because you're dependent on the adults around you for your survival. But as you become an adult, that is now not the case. Yes, in fact, it's the other way around. So that very skill that you learned is, in order for you to survive, means that you actually become, how can we say, I'm just coming back, so you can see me anyway. Okay, so I'll put it back then. No, I won't. I will just, sorry, I've lost everything. Okay, so yeah, when you grow up, it's basically a case of, dang, that doesn't work anymore. Actually, all that does is it makes me feel like I don't belong. So I'm wondering who here resonates with the I don't belong story. If you're here live, then I would expect that you do, because that is what this live is about. I definitely had that story. I'm moving on to number 2 now, which is how the I don't belong story nearly made me lose everything. And then the next part is how we turn it around. Okay, so I definitely had the I don't belong story. I was abandoned by my dad as a baby. I felt like a burden to my mum. I was an only child. I was very much left alone. And so I sank into a world with no boundaries, a very strong psychic world. And that made me not fit in with other children. I just wasn't like other children. Plus I was ginger and overweight and had a bowl cut and braces and hand-me-down clothes and meal tokens. So none of that really helped whatsoever. And I felt different. And that's what I was. I was the person that weird things happened to. I did have some good friends in my teenage years, but life, the weird things that happened, took me in another direction. And ever since then, it has been like a feeling of this I don't belong story has just built up and built up and built up, especially as I became a psychic, as I became a prominent psychic in London, on TV, in the London circuit. So I was out and out of the spiritual closet, and there was so much misunderstanding around it. I just really started to spin the nobody understands me. That was my story. No one understands me. I wonder if you resonate with that story. And that story became so strong that in 2016, it started to affect absolutely everything. Well, it had been affecting everything, but it was coming to an absolute crescendo point. And I nearly lost my marriage, and I nearly lost my business. And it was someone who's in this group. Yeah, I'm sure it does resonate. Bless Julia. We're going to look at like how to turn it around. So the moment for me where it really started to turn around, I think I'd gone on a retreat. It was a business group retreat, and the teacher was doing self-development. She was blending self-development, and that was the focus of this more than sales. And actually the group kept coming to me because it was obvious from whatever exercise was happening and my answers that I had a stronger knowledge on that stuff than a business coach does, right? And I was aware that this was making the business coach really uncomfortable, and I was feeling really uncomfortable, and it just totally activated my I don't belong story, right? Big time. So I couldn't get out of it. Like, people were coming to because they wanted help, and I couldn't help them because it was like, I just don't belong. This isn't my place. This isn't my place. No one understands me. And it was getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger to the point that it just popped. So much so, I tried to get back in the spiritual closet. That doesn't work either. It was really painful. It was kind of jammed half in and half out. So I really had to start working on belonging, on knowing that I belong. And it is as simple as this. You belong. Okay. Now, I know it doesn't sound that simple, but it's about every time you feel it kick in, and I'll show you a way that you can help yourself to switch on the I belong switch. It is literally an I belong switch. It is literally knowing that if you are here on the earth, you belong. The fact that you put 2 feet on this earth means you belong. You have inherent worth just by being born. Take that in. You have inherent worth just by being born. Means that you belong. You do not have to do anything. The world does not need to understand you. You might have to help the world understand you, but that shouldn't diminish your worth. Okay, nor should it put it up. It's equal worth as everyone else. Everybody, if they are here on the planet, has equal inherent worth that is there and is separate to behaviors or anything else. Yes, so even Donald Trump, for instance, has equal inherent worth, right? It's just our judgments, we all have a purpose of some kind. We all play a part in a much bigger picture than we can comprehend or understand. So please do, from this moment on, just make the decision here and now that you belong. I'm going to put the workbook up a minute because it will show you something here that you can do to help yourself when you get to that place of that not belonging feeling. Okay, so I'm just gonna share screen again a second. It's not coming up now. Typical. Where is it gone? Okay, bear with me. Share screen. Come on. Great, thank you. I'm talking to it like my kitten. Come on. Where's it gone? That's what I do with my kitten. Okay, so we want to go to page 89. The I Don't Belong Buster. Now, this workbook will be available for you very soon. And in it, there's 10 play sheets, one for each symptom. So you have one for the I Don't Belong Buster. And it gets you to put down your triggers. And then it gets you to put down the location of where the triggers are. And then it gets you to put down how you can remind yourself in that environment that you belong. So that is the I Don't Belong Buster, okay? And that you will be able to get when the workbook comes out, all right? But now we're going to look at something else that might help you. And then I'm going to come on to your comments because Anne, I can see you've put one. Thank you. Hi, Alison. Good to see you here. All right. So Transformative Tarot is different to Predictive Tarot because we use it as a mirror. And one of the things that I really do work with a lot is knowing that we are a co-creator with the universe. So with this exercise, you would need 2 decks. Pretty much. You can do it with 1 deck, but it's not so easy. So I'll show you why and what I mean. What you'll be doing, and this is the part where you will probably need to come back to on the replay because I've chosen these earlier. But the first thing that you do is you choose 3 cards purposely. So you're like going through the deck, you're looking at the pictures. Yeah, you're actually looking at the pictures like this, and you're choosing the card that says the following to you. So it's 3 questions. You might want to jot these down if you have a pen, but of course you've got the replay and you can pause it at any time. So from the first deck, you want to choose 3 cards. 1 for not belonging. What does not belonging feel like to you? So you could have a little go now if you have a deck there. You can start looking through and choosing a card for not belonging. Okay, if you want to try and do it as we go along, go ahead, feel free. So my card for not belonging was the moon. So I saw this and I was like, yeah, that is how it feels to me. It's from childhood. I had this very immersive experience in another world, which made me feel like I wasn't seen, I wasn't heard, and I just wasn't validated in any way, shape or form, really. I was shut away in a way. And so it feels like I was lost in another world. So this was this I belong somewhere else kind of feeling. So I've chosen the moon, and obviously the deck that you use, you may choose different cards for. So Transformative Tarot is quite pictorial. So go with the pictures. Don't worry, you don't have to know anything about tarot. Don't worry about the meanings. Just go with what the pictures say to you. So that's my I Don't Belong story. It's the moon, okay? Then how it affects you. So how it affects you, or how it affected me, was total feeling of this. Wherever I go, whatever I do, it just came back to me, this blockage of not being able to receive and feeling shut out. I started to do it to myself, yes. So it became a prison, really, of not being able to receive anything. Relationships or business opportunities, both were a problem, big time. Okay, and so I chose the 5 of Pentacles because that's how it felt for me. And then the next one is how your world would be. So this one, first one, is your I Don't Belong story. It's a picture for that. The second one is a picture for how it affects you. So you're choosing these pictures. You're not shuffling and dealing them out randomly. You're choosing what it feels like. A picture says 1,000 words, right? And then how your world would be different if you healed the I Don't Belong story. So I chose on purpose the 10 of Pentacles because there's just such this feeling of belonging and community business and personal. So it encapsulated that for me. So when you've got your 3 cards, yes, you just place them down. And then you take, if you've got another deck, you can still do it with the deck you've taken 3 cards from. That's okay. It just negates some of the magic, because when you use another deck, and the decks I'm using are Chris Ann Donnelly's Light Seers Tarot, which is amazing, just like she is. Totally love her. So I met her because we both spoke at the tarot conference in Montreal last year, and it was like a dream. It's like meeting your idol, and she didn't disappoint at all. She's so magical in the flesh. And then the Modern Witches Tarot by Lisa Searle. I haven't met Lisa Searle, but it's published by Liminal, and I will tell you that they are 2 gorgeous guys, Mike and I can't remember the other guy's name, begins with D, but they are really lovely as well. So that means a lot to me, to be using cards that, you know, I have a personal connection to, that I feel that the energy is good around from the creator of them. All right, so with your second deck, you are just shuffling, and it's just like a normal tarot reading. And you're basically just asking the universe for its take on your story, okay? So let's have a look. Interesting. So my story for not belonging was the moon. And it's kind of similar. The universe has gone, yeah, that was pretty shit for you, wasn't it? We've got the 9 of Swords there. So it's like, yeah, this loneliness of not belonging, this isolation, shut away in your room, being tortured by, it was very Sixth Sense, my experience, you know, it was haunted houses and strange experience after strange experience. Actually, when I was 7, I couldn't go to sleep without poltergeists knocking on the wall. And well, it was that, or they would either be brushing my hair, and if I put my duvet over my head, the knocking would be happening on the wall. So I had to go to try and sleep with one or the other. That's how intense the other world was for me. Okay. And then, yes, this makes sense, because the more that I felt like I didn't belong, the more I got enraged, and I felt injustice. I felt frustrated, angry, and injustice with the world, when actually the real peace, and this is why I'm so passionate about the intuitive inner transformation, the real peace was on doing the work on myself. It's when the internal work is done that everything will turn around. It's kind of interesting that the universe has also given me a sword. So it's been really 3 swords. We've had the 9 of Swords, Justice, may not be a minor arcana sword, but she's Libra and she's got a sword, so she is a sword. And then we've got the 4 of Swords here. Now in the Modern Witches, it's still not particularly that great. The 4 of Swords, you know, it's better than the 9 of Swords, but it's still in that place of like total kind of exhaustion. So this seems to be saying that any concentration on whether you belong or not can just leave you a little bit feeling like this. So just flick the switch, you know, just know simply that you belong, and don't let it be hard work. All right. Now, some people say it takes ages for the brain to be rewired, and I am not a scientist, so I'm just not that way inclined, so I don't know. What I do know is that the decision is instant. So a decision that you have self-esteem, that you're going to come from self-esteem, that you're worthy, that you do belong, that is instant, and it's either on or off. So I think the real work comes in about being aware of the need to flick that switch on. That's the real work, okay? And it's much easier to do that when you are in a community of like-minded individuals. And that community is in the Transformational Truth of Tarot, which will be opening again. It's been closed since we've been doing a closed run of it since April, and it'll be opening again in October. So do, if you're resonating, just keep following me at the moment, keep seeing what's happening and the energy, and seeing if you feel like, yeah, actually, I'd really like to feel like I belong. There is a massive sense of belonging in that community, but not in the way that when you come out of it, you feel like you don't belong. It's actually the opposite. It's like everything that you learn in there gives you the tools to break down those feelings of not belonging, and your relationships absolutely transform from there. So do keep that in mind. And if you do want to come through for a chat with me, you can do that too. I'm just going to come to your comments, but just want to get this up because it's happening naturally. So you can apply for your free Fire Up Your Intuition session with me, where I will actually go through the 10 symptoms with you. And we will get very clear on where they're resonating for you, where they're at for you, and which ones, what top 3 ones are your biggest, and what you can do to actually go forward from there. And if it's to do with, hey, actually we feel like we gel, then how I can help you. But it is free and it is non-obligatory. Okay, so if you just come on and we just do a something where it's like aha, and it's clear to us that it's just right now, it's just about going away with what you get from the clarity of that session, then that's totally cool. Yes, because it's really important to me that the people that come into TTT are people that are absolutely ready for it. That's why I offer these sessions. It's so that we get very clear on whether it is the right thing for you to be immersing yourself in this work with me, if you're ready for it or not quite. All right, so you can come through for that, and it's totally free and non-obligatory. All right, so do reach out if you need some help with the stuff that's coming up here on the lives that I've been doing. There is one more live on this subject, and that is Friday. I am going to come to your comments, I promise. So that one is self-esteem, what it is, how to get it, and why no amount of intuition or people-pleasing will make up for a lack of it. And we'll do some fun with the tarot as well on that one too. So Julia and Anne, let me come to you. You've got some comments going on. So Anne says, I used to have this story and it hasn't gone completely. I've been thinking about this morning. I'm in a team, and the majority of whom I don't particularly like or trust. So it's not that I don't belong, it's that I don't want to belong. It's my choice. Yeah, okay. It's like, you know, I think, first of all, this is a permission piece. It's okay for you to suspend all judgment. You don't have to like them. You don't have to trust them. And it's okay to suspend all judgment, because when we get into a place of judging someone, it's like there's 3 fingers pointing back at us. It's very karmic, and it will shut us down. And I know what it's like. I have, you know, we are human. We will get those, shall we say, intuitive hits as intuitives as well, when really it can just be a trigger point. I had to do this really full-on exercise with someone once. It was a group exercise where the person, it's like we were in 2 lineups, and people on the other side had to choose who they were triggered by. Yeah. So this guy walked up to me, and it was like really uncomfortable. It was like, oh my God, like this guy just has taken a dislike to me. And I hadn't even clocked him. I was totally unaware of him. It wasn't like I'd walked into a place and thought, yeah, you know what, you triggered my buttons. I just wasn't aware of him at all, but I was obviously sticking out like a sore thumb to him. Then we had to sit opposite each other and stare for 5 minutes. eye contact, no words. And all these feelings were coming up, and my God. And then after that, you had to share your background. He had been abandoned by his dad. Okay, there is so much that can trigger us, that as an intuitive, that we pick up on, that we don't understand. And I have really judged a lot of people, particularly business coaches. Yes, so that might be something. Maybe I trigger you. You know, I'm there. I'm showing up. I'm quite strong in my truth, and I'll give it to you. You know, it's like there's no kind of like, I'm not one for suffering fools gladly or pussyfooting around or people pleasing. You know, I am someone that will just cut to the chase, and that can be really effing triggering for some people, right? And so let me backtrack. I get triggered a lot by business coaches, right? Until I get to know them a bit better. And then I see that they're actually human. And then I see that they actually, underneath all of that, are actually really quite nice people. They're quite fun and upbeat and lovely and gorgeous. And so when you feel like you don't like someone or you don't trust someone, it's totally fine to not try and make yourself like them or trust them, and hold the space. It's like, okay, I'm not bringing them into my space, but I am being observational about what this is bringing up for me and seeing what is really going on here. So in your situation, Anne, where you're working with these people, if you can, and I know what it's like as well, I've never felt like I've belonged when I've been working with people, but I've given myself permission to not try and fit in, and yeah, kind of accept and acknowledge and be observational around it. Whilst you're there, it would be good for you to practice the I belong. You are all equal human beings. You all breathe, you all shit, you all eat, you all drink, you all want to be loved. And another thing that can happen or can help is just to set the tone and the resonance of you belong. Because I bet my billionth dollar that actually, if you had a one-to-one with every single one in that place, they would be resonating with that I don't belong. It is everywhere. It is rife. It's not just with intuitives. And so the more, you know, if we resonate this I don't belong, all we're doing is being the change we don't want to see in the world. Yeah, if that makes sense. So if you can go in there with the I belong and resonate the I belong energy, you may find that other people start to drop their masks also and become the change that we wish to see in the world, if that makes sense. Thank you for your share, Anne. Julia says she's had quite a few swords in Tarot Fili lately, and had a Queen of Swords today and a Four of Swords yesterday. That's it. When you do the practice coherently, shall I say, daily, you really get to see the patterns. And when you don't do it daily, it's very random, it's very reactive, it's very chain-like. It doesn't give you the clarity. So great that you're starting to see trajectories and patterns. I wonder what you think it means for you, Julia. Anne says she chose the Five of Cups for not belonging. I nearly chose the Five of Cups for not belonging too, yeah. And the Eight of Cups for how it makes you feel. Okay, so this feeling of like, okay, I'm just going to keep moving on. It's like the littlest hobo is coming through. And you chose the Ten of Pentacles for the belonging. So how your world would shift if you could get past that. Wouldn't that be amazing? So it sounds like where you are with your environment, Anne, right now is a perfect time to shift that and come into this. Yes? Not meaning that you have to like or trust them, but it does mean to become awake to the fact that you're judging and suspend all judgment in a way, and just bring it back to you. And I belong, we all belong, we all have inherent equal self-worth. And I'm going to resonate this energy out into this place. Wow, amazing. How would that be? Okay, and so the universe chose for Anne the next 3 Tower of Dreams, Hermit. So, okay, yeah, that's up very much I don't belong. Strength, interestingly, that's another 8. You and your 8, San. And 8 of Cups is strength of emotion, and strength is number 8. So, yeah, that's resonating there as well. And Chariot, that's a 7. You've put 8, but it's a 7. So the Chariot is like the proving thing, whereas strength is 8. So there's some work to do there on the being okay that you don't have to prove anything kind of thing. I think will help, really, really help. And yeah, we a little bit of work and on it. But I'm not sure if work's the right word. I think it's just like a gift you can give to yourself, to go in there and just be like, you know what, I actually belong. And so do you, and so do you, and so do you. And it can become playful then. And I wonder what will happen. It's almost like the Midas touch, just sprinkling a bit of magic around the place. I'm sure that's one of the reasons that you found yourself back in this situation, if that makes sense. Lisa, you make me laugh. What is this about business coaches? Lol, wink. Yeah. Well, there you go. Who triggers you? Anyone? It's always good to look at it and go, okay, why am I being so judgmental? And I've definitely worked through quite a lot of judgment on my business coaches this last couple of months, and it's been really, really, really flipping healing. So I really would say, who is it that triggers you, and what if you can actually see the human underneath it? What then? The connection is possible, right? Which is beautiful. Okay, Lisa had the moon this morning, and Julia says the swords means she's been in her head a lot. Okay, time to get some body going on, some movement going on, get off the computer, have a little dance and shake your butt. And it's been lovely to see you here, ladies. And I'll be back for the last one on the OUT-TUITON series on Friday, which is self-esteem, how to have it, and how no amount of intuition or people-pleasing will make up for a loss of it. And I've got something really exciting, because I've been there and I've been thinking, what really wants to come through? And yesterday it hit me. So Monday is a new moon in Aquarius, or is it full moon? I think it might be full moon. Full moon in Aquarius, your sign, Lisa, so perfect for you. And we're going to start a journey. We're going to do Be Your Own Magician. So I will be live with you every lunchtime, midday. I'll be going live next week, every lunchtime, to help you activate the magic. The post will go up 6 hours before that. So when you wake up in the morning on Monday morning, just come straight into Inner Transformation with Tiffany Crosara, and you'll see a message from the magician on how to activate the magic. And I'm going to take you through how to work with the tarot daily to activate the magic. We're going to do 5 cards, 1 a day, and they will come alive in your life. Some of you know this, some of you have done these journeys before, and so I'm really excited about that. Just come in and don't worry about not understanding it, just be open again, suspend all judgment and see what can happen when you just pop in and look at one post. Your whole life can actually start to change from there, and you will have an amazing 5 magical days. All right, so I will look forward to that, but I'll be back with you on Friday. Lisa's saying, yep, like Yep, she knows. Lisa's well journeyed with the journeys, so she gets it. She's like, yep, that's what happens. Just matter of fact. Love it. Love the magician, absolutely. So we're going to crack on with him on Monday on the full moon in Aquarius, and I will see you on Friday at 1. All right, for the last of the OUT-TUITON series. And just to finish, I've got to put this back up again. If you're like, dang, Tiffany, I do really need to come through and sort some stuff out with you and see if if we can get these blocks between me and all these people and all these opportunities and all this wealth and all this happiness out of the water and get my intuition working back as intuition rather than OUT-TUITON. Please, please, please do come through. It's free and non-obligatory. Okay, take care. Lots of love. See you on Friday. Thank you for being here. Thank you, Lisa, for letting people know that they will love it. I really, really appreciate it. Please do let people know. Those of you that have journeyed before, please do let them know. Send people requests to join the group and let them know what is happening, because it's going to be fun and exciting and life-changing and magical. Lots of love to you all. Thank you for your time. It's been, my God, nearly an hour. Jeez, I only thought I had 3 bullet points in the quick tarot session. I'm really going to have to make these shorter. Bye for now. Lots of love.